So things have escalated rather intensively. This is the diff for the E12. We have it up on jack stands here. We're back at Hunter's. Welcome everyone to our trek back home to Chicago. We are now beginning, just got on the highway. We're heading out of California. So E12 is so far so good. So the end of last episode, after all the work we did, I found out that the diff was leaking at a very fast rate, and I did not feel like blowing up a limited slip differential. Not only because finding an E12 diff is probably impossible, not only because it's super expensive, but if that diff leaked out enough fluid and seized up on me or blew up, I would be done. There's no way around fixing or rigging a diff to work. You are basically screwed. So I didn't want to test fate with that. So to do the pinion seal on this, you gotta drop the diff. Basically this car's leak free right now, and I took care of everything I think this car could need for like crucial maintenance to get home, you know? Fuel pump, fuel filter, fuel lines, which was a nightmare in of itself, finding the right fuel lines. Cooling system's done, but I will say this car is still being very weird with when it's idling at a stop. The temp gauge just keeps going. I have the gauge one and I have an aftermarket one, and the gauge one will just fluctuate like this within seconds. I don't really think it's accurate. The aftermarket one will slowly creep up to about the 180 mark, a little bit hotter, but I don't know if the car's actually getting hot or if the gauges just are really crappy. It's one of those things I have to look at when I get home, but when we're cruising, it gets way down to like 140, 150, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just gonna try not to like sit in traffic. So otherwise, yeah, the cooling system's taken care of, all the fluids are done, tires are good, brakes are brand new. Like we're kind of, the car should be solid. I can't lie, I am a little bit nervous just because this is a long drive in a very old car that is, I will just say, is running really poorly on a cold start. This car has something wrong with its cold start. I think it's just dumping fuel. It has a bad fuel pressure regulator, which definitely is attributing to that. And then O2 sensor maybe. So there's more maintenance to be done. Once you're driving and cruising, it is solid, so I'm not worried about it, but just want to let you guys know. So there will be more things to do to this car when we get home, but right now I'm focused on getting home. So from this point on, a lot of pretty time-lapse updates at each of the stopping points I get to, and yeah, we'll see. So stay tuned. Hopefully there's no surprises, no excitement, but you never know. So I'm just gonna cruise and yeah. Nothing more irritating when you're on the road than these stupid 2-lane highways to Vegas and stuff. Every time someone has to get in an accident and then it's just a standstill. So you can see I'm not even on the road. I pulled off because this clutch fan, I think it already failed. It's worthless. The car will get super hot if it sits, so I just shut it off. I'm not even gonna risk it. No one is moving even in the slightest, so I will sit here for however long I need to. At this point, looks like it's gonna be 30 minutes or so. Trying to truck along to Vegas here. I just got a notification saying I-70 is closed and it wants to reroute me above Colorado through Salt Lake City, which does not fare well to my time. So I don't know what's going on with the routes, but I'm just trying to get to Vegas so I could eat lunch, and then I'm gonna reconvene and stuff. going down the Las Vegas Strip with a bad clutch fan was the worst idea I've ever made in my life. That was nothing but stress. Every single light there you hit, and it's forever, man. I'm sitting there watching the temps climb. I'm trying to rev it to cool it down. Luckily, we never got over, you know, the max like allowed heat on this gauge. At least this gauge got a little bit over 180. I would say we were maybe in the 195 range, which isn't mission critical, so we're all right. We made it, but oh, just what a stupid, stressful idea. Dumb, but we're making it out of Vegas, thank the Lord. Now we will keep on pushing. So something that I've been, you know, messing with this whole drive that has gotten the best of me is the fuel gauge on this car and understanding what it really means, because these early, you know, BMWs use this stupid fuel gauge that, you know, it's like slighted to one way. So like you have two marks right by full, you have the half mark which is more to the right, then you have the left line which is, I'd guess, empty, and then the reserve light. Well, you guys can see my gas lights on, so first off, it works. Second off, we're only clicking over 260 miles, so this car is doing 260 miles to a tank, which is pretty poor, I have to admit, but it is a small tank. I think it's like a 14-gallon tank. Welcome to the very cold Utah. Feels like I'm back in winter. It's like 25 degrees here. This is where we stopped for the night. I wanted to get further, but I didn't, but it is what it is. We made good progress yesterday. Today we're gonna make even more. So this thing barely started up this morning because it's probably never seen weather this cold. So it was a bit scary, but she came to life. So we're gonna go through, do a fluid check real quick, check the vitals out, make sure we're all good there. I'm actually gonna show you guys around the trunk and stuff. I haven't even showed you my road trip, how I'm doing it. And then we will get on the road and continue. So first things first, we want to check the oil on this thing, because I haven't checked this for a while. So we are right in the middle pretty much, which is good. So I put this thing, it was at full, so I would say we used about a middle's worth of oil over the course of driving 10 hours, which is pretty good. That's about oil consumption you would expect for a car like this. And then coolant is totally fine. It hasn't used any coolant at all, which is good. Clutch fan is actually very locked up right now, but when you start driving it gets warmer. The clutch fan does not work. Brand new Sachs, it's worthless. So I'm gonna have to go home and do some testing there. So let me bring you guys in. I'm gonna show you what the setup's like, and then we're gonna hit the road. So these E12s have huge trunks, which is coming in handy because I actually have 3 suitcases in here. So I got my big boy with all my stuff, and then I got 2 suitcases. One that I had all the tools shipped in, and then all my merch is in these 2 if I had to do some roadside deals. Then I got, you know, some paper towels here. I actually got an E34 strut brace I got from Hunter. All my tools, spare stuff, old parts, 2 jugs of coolant. I got some spare oil, which is actually empty. I don't even know why I brought this. My spare slave, shoes, whatever. My center cap, spare hose, since all the hose fiascos. But this trunk is basically maxed out, which is cool. But I mean, it is way more spacious than an E34 trunk, that's for sure. And then in the car itself, we have my backpack with my camera equipment. All my snacks are on the floor, my mango juice. We got my brand new seats for this thing, which I'll show you guys once we get home. Stacked upside down in the back seat. They fit perfectly. And that's pretty much it. She's been a nice little car for this drive. I have to say, E12s feel a lot more spacious than they look. Something about it, I swear it feels more spacious than an E34, which is weird because I really don't think it is, but it's been doing great. So let's hope she stays tried and true and doesn't give me any issues, and we can make it to hopefully Iowa today, which is about 14 hours. So that's a lot, but we'll see if we can get there. start to realize the shortcomings of the old E12, E28, even E34 rear suspension. And E28 and E34 have improved on the E12's design, but where I noticed the E12 designs go wrong is I don't believe it has the dog bones, that connect the trailing arms to the subframe further. I'm almost positive it doesn't have them, and I am really starting to notice the shortcomings of that design once I'm in these mountainy roads that are in poor condition. Further out west, it wasn't really noticeable. The car always felt a little floaty, and also, let's not contribute strictly to the design. I think every single bushing is shot on this car. The R-tabs are cracked up. The subframe bushings look to be cracked. It is in dire need of a rear suspension overhaul, right? I'll admit that. But even once those components are replaced, I still think I would find that you would feel that the rear of this car is very has a mind of its own. And everyone always says on the E28s and E34s, oh, if the rear is tracking on its own, or it feels kind of like it has a mind of its own, it's your dog bones or maybe your subframe bushings. And I can really feel the difference now, having not only the subframe bushings worn out, but no dog bones. When I'm hitting a bump, like a crack in the road, a dip in the road, when it's on a curve, it is borderline scary, because the rear of the car will straight up shimmy itself out. Not like it wants to oversteer. It will like hop, move, and then it like will fall and recenter. And it comes to be a very like abrupt, like scary kind of action. You don't have any control over it. It is literally, the rear end is shimmying independently of the frame of the car, and it's freaking scary. And when you hit these bumps, you feel the rear of the car is just doing whatever the hell it wants. So one day when I find the parts, if you can even still buy them, I will do every rear bushing, every front bushing, and we will revisit a spirited drive in this car and see how it feels. I'm sure it doesn't help also that I have a ton of weight in the trunk and the back seat, so let's not condemn the design. Obviously it's an old design, but let's not condemn it. But just want to come on here and say, as far as what this car is doing, how it's treating me, fantastic. The only issue is the bit of a scary feeling from the rear suspension, and these front seats are a little short. So like, if I want to lean my head back, I kind of am over the headrest. I can't find a way to get these headrests to go up and down. I feel like they do. I haven't gotten them to move, so whatever. So like, I kind of have to slouch in my seat, which puts my feet really close to the pedals, so that I can't stretch my legs if I want my head to be rested up. If I want my legs stretched, I have to sit like this and my head's in the ceiling. So I'm not a huge dude either, so like to feel like this car's small based on how I'm sitting is interesting. But I think a lot of it comes down to just the fact that I can't have my seat all the way back because of the seats behind me. So my only two gripes with the car, rear suspension and seat. Otherwise, we are trucking right along, man. Today's the grinding day, so I'm getting a lot of time lapse, but other than that, you will not hear from me much because I am just on the freaking road. So, well, every time without fail, I go through the Rockies and get stuck in the worst freaking storm ever. Not the worst, but I get stuck in a storm, and here we are in the storm. Slow, wet roads in a 43-year-old BMW with no traction control is not what you like. The altitude we're at is leaving me with about 40 horsepower. The car will hardly move, even downshifting. I mean, it goes nowhere compared to how peppy this thing was. Just 30 minutes prior, it's crazy. So traffic's not too bad, but these roads, I just don't trust the car like that, so I just go slow and steady. But bear with me as I get through this. This will not be fun. sailing. The sun is out. It's cold, but otherwise good weather. Nothing to see in Iowa, so we're just gonna get home, and I will see you guys when we're at home. Well, we're at a familiar sight, aren't we? Looks like I have made it home from the journey across the country in this bad boy right here. I just have to say, I am insanely proud of this car for what it did. A first generation 5 Series, sight unseen, bought on Bring a Trailer. Yes, I did a crap load of maintenance, but it made it without a single hiccup along the way. Not a single thing. I didn't have to do anything to this car except for add a little bit of oil, which is really, you can't not expect that from one of these cars. My SD2 needed some oil. This needed some oil. It is caked in dirt. This is the filthiest I've ever seen a car, to be honest. I love it. It looks so cool. It looks all battle torn, and it's like, yes, I did that, right? Through rain, through snow, through heat, through everything. She made it back. I'm feeling a little overtired. Last night, hotel situation was a nightmare, but we made it back with some daylight. A lot of daylight. It's not even late, but so some stats about this car, right? So what I paid in gas, we have $313.97, give or take. Actually, not take, but maybe add $50. So about $360 in gas or less. And that's premium every time because I put premium in this thing. That's not too bad. Under $400 in gas. You can't be mad about that. That's pretty decent. I would say I had to add about 2 quarts of oil, I would guess. I put a full one in today after yesterday's 16-hour endeavor, and then I topped it off a little bit the day before. So maybe not a whole quart, maybe or maybe not 2 full, maybe just 1.5, which I think is pretty normal for about 2,000 miles. You can't really be mad about an old engine like that. Didn't use any coolant, didn't use any other fluids, no leaks developed, nothing like that. I left Wednesday morning, I'm back Friday evening, so 3 days, 2 nights, solo trip. I'm proud of that. That's pretty impressive, I think. She's here. It was fun. The seats of an E12 are super comfortable, given I couldn't really adjust them properly because I had seats in the back seat. But I have to say I'm impressed with the comfort level of this car. Yeah, I'm glad I did the diff seals, because if I was worried about leaky diff the whole time, that would have been miserable. A lot of high speed, extended, 15 hours of driving, that diff would have been crying for help. But I'm just stoked that it made it back. I didn't doubt it, but in my heart I was a little nervous, but she did just fine. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching along this little mini journey. It was fun. I really enjoy putting these cars to the test. As my friend Adam always said, you don't need a modern, big utilitarian vehicle to cross the country. All you need is a classic BMW. And that's what we did. My second time across the country in an old BMW. It's an honor, it's fun. I recommend everyone takes the time out of their life to enjoy themselves and take a car they love or a car they just bought and just do it, because it's a lot of fun. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. We'll probably be doing some work on this thing in the future, maybe some mods, who knows, so stay tuned. But I'll see you guys in the next one.